Okay, welcome to today's CFP 6 Max micro session. Uh, Today we will be talking about the topic single raised pots versus flop c-bets, call or fold. So basically hands that you think are close to folding, but maybe not. So, not like, oh, two pairs, should I really fold here? Not something like that, but more like, should I really call with that gut shot, or do I really have to do this? Those are the type of questions we will be answering today. So let's just see where this will be going. Oh, now I know why the number is a little bit lower today, because of course it's an earlier session. But we had to do it that way. Okay, first hands, everybody ready? I hope you can see my screen. Adam, it's you. So we have pocket sixes here. We call, and the question is, do we call or flop the fold? Call c-bet on a flop? Yes. The answer is a very clear yes. Especially readless, it's a super dry board. Your pocket sixes are most likely the best hand, especially against a button range. Definitely easy call here. Yeah. Should we be calling the turn? The second question, that's already a tougher one because, well, the jack, well, would he bet the jack? Most people at the limit probably don't bet the jack on the turn if they hit. So still he has kind of the queen or nothing. It's a close call, but I think it's acceptable to make it. And yeah, please close. Okay, so I hope everybody can still hear us, hear me. Let me see quickly. There's some hands up.
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, so Milos has a question.
So do you think on those limits people do barrels bluff?
Yes, they do some of the time. I mean, I said it's a close spot. It's also button. This call is not the end of the world, but if you want to be really tight, folding is not. It's okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Should we be calling turn? No. Yeah, okay. Like he said, he's not doing that well against the range. Well, let's see what the range he's giving people. Is he giving Jack 8 suited plus? Well, yeah, the problem is he might not be betting that many Jack X, which again, you didn't give him too many combinations of that. Sometimes they even check a queen, so it's close. I mean, again, it's not the end of the world, but perhaps folding is better. Okay, goes over pairs. Okay, there you go. So you have 28% equity. Okay, so probably it's a fold, maybe, All I want to say, call is not the end of the world, but in those situations, especially if your opponent bluffs the river, it can be advised to fold. Good. So let's see the next hand. Seems no question about that. Flop, and against middle position, we're cut off, and of course we call the flop. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, is it pot size? Does it change? Should we call pot size bet on the flop? Yes, it's definitely a call. I think unless we have some reads, which it says no stats, with a pair on the flop, unless you have your pocket deuces, but like with a, let's say, second pair, you usually have the best hand. Okay, and in order to call, we need like only 33%, like 1 out of 3 times. We need the best hand here. It's very important to understand that. So usually we have the best hand, maybe against a very tight range, not always, but yeah, it's definitely a call. So don't be too confused. In some situations, if we had like third pair, if we had pocket sevens here, we would probably call a half pot bet and we would fold to a full pot bet. That's kind of the line I would be drawing. So don't level yourself too much, and yes, on the turn we fold. So well played hand, but don't fold the flop. That's too tight. Okay, Adam.
If he bets half pot on the turn, or I'm assuming we fold. Well, if he bets half pot, I'm assuming we fold there. I think it's a fold. I would fold if he bet again.
It's a closer spot. I think a fold is fine because he's raising from middle position. Yeah. If it was like a button against small blind, I probably like a call better against a half.
And if he checks the turn, I would probably bet half pot as opposed to checking back.
Oh, that's really close. If the turn goes check and then he checks to you on the river? Hello?
Yeah, if you went check on the turn, I would half pot the river because I think
And he checks to
he
you
would
on the
bet the
river.
turn again with the jack.
Yeah. Sure. Well, no, on the river. Look. You're lazy, guys. When you look, you don't look at the action. You're in position, which means he has to check to you on the river before you can bet. So yeah, you would probably, if he checks to you twice now, if he checks to you on the river as well, yes, then you would bet half pot for value. That is actually true. Yes. Okay. Mitch.
Would you bet sevens on the turn when he checks?
Guys, somebody has like their fucking thing not muted, and then you keep writing. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so okay, Mitch again. So would I bet sevens? Well, I'm waiting for your answer. Come on, guys, don't be lazy.
I would bet half pot.
Okay, why?
Protection, maybe value against straight draws and backdoor.
Which straight draw? Mitch?
I was thinking 9-10, yeah, but we have 10, so something like that. 9-10.
Well, something
10
like that.
queen.
That's not good enough. So when you're specific, you see, oops, fuck, there are no straight draws. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Main point being is pocket sevens, if the first thing you come up is protection, let me tell you, you're usually wrong. Okay, I mean, usually it's a wrong bet. It's not a good bet. If that's, I think I said it before, keep that in your mind. Protection is a very weak reason. It is a reason. It can be an additional reason. It can be the reason to turn a close situation into a bet, definitely. But otherwise, don't. So in other words, with pocket sevens, you call the flop, which is already thin, but it's okay. And then you definitely fold later. Okay. Skenda, B.
Yes, should we not fold on the flop third pair?
Against a
If we have
pot size bet,
7-7?
yes. Against a half pot size, I said we could call.
But okay,
In
because
this
the book
situation,
say
but you
no,
could, if you fold the flop, it's not too bad. Again, if we had stats somebody with like a C bet of
Okay.
only 50%, we would fold even against a half pot bet.
Okay.
Okay, Stefano.
You said if he checks twice, so he checked turn, we check, and he checks river, we bet. But is it an error to bet after he checks the turn on the turn? I think we can bet half pot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than with sevens, because if we have tens, he could call with nines. He could, maybe with ace king, maybe. Unlikely, okay? But there's not a lot of obvious worse hands that he will call with. So I think even with tens, I prefer to check back on the turn. Again, you need to look, what are you getting value from? And there simply isn't a lot of obvious stuff. Okay.
Okay. So it could be the way a normal line if he didn't bet pot the flop. Instead, now because he bet pot, we can a little bit arrange, right?
No, I mean,
Because
I would do the same thing. No. I would do the
Okay.
same thing with half pot. I know standard line. I know it, but it's when range situations are wider. We're adapting
Okay.
here a little bit, okay?
Okay.
It's just important for you to understand. Always, I mean, the standard lines is for people who don't like to think. Or in some situations, you should not be thinking too much, okay? But this is always the balance, okay? So we do those sessions here to teach you how to think, and you have the standard lines as a good basis in case you don't know what to do. So you need to understand where you can adapt and where not. Okay, good.
Okay, great.
Okay, I see no more hands. Let's go on to the next hand by Mitch. So we have the ace-10, and Mitch check folds here. Okay, I think that's a little bit too tight against the button range, especially since we assume the button is raising any 2 here. We have basically no information on button, and probably missed the flop. Yes, very good. So with ace high, especially decent ace high, on a flop like that, you can check call once, check full turn. That would be the standard line, okay? If he has a high flop c-bet, are we more inclined to call here or to raise? What the fuck is wrong with you? You have ace high, Mitch. Okay, what happens with people who bluff raise? Mitch, tell us. We can't hear you. Louder.
Fucked by rats.
Well, okay.
So we go to the basement with rats.
Okay, go to the basement and get raped by rats. Okay, good. So yeah, no, we don't bluff raise here. The true answer is
Not.
In a later chapter, in the intermediate, we will actually go over some stuff where you can bluff. But first, you need to show me that you can make money. Yeah, but we will go in the intermediate course. We'll go over some situations where actually bluffing is good. So it's not completely wrong. Of course, if the guy has a super wide range, bluffing is like, could be an option, but we don't do that. But yeah, you check call here with ace high. That's a good thing. Okay. Yeah. So if he has a high flop, okay, I answered that. Good. I see no questions, which means I'll go to the next hand. Good. A7. Same story. I think in exactly the same thing. Besides the fact that we are even in position, which makes it even better. So quite easy call here. Yes. Yes, it would be better if it's rainbow, and it would be even better if you hit the ace. But look, it's not always what we want it to be. But yeah, I would definitely call here. Yes, good. Good. Okay, nice comment, Mikhail. Mikhail, hello.
Yes, yes, hello.
I think we have a lot of lag today for some reason. Okay, talk.
When we call with SI and villain check the turn, can we bet for bluff, or we try to go to showdown?
We try to go to showdown typically. I don't see him call a lot of worse hands on the turn, but of course, the worse our ace high is, the more we could maybe try to bluff out better ace highs, but no, we don't want to get into that. You do call to hit / to just get to showdown. Sometimes they just bet with jack high and they give up, you check down and you win with ace high. I don't say this happens all the time, but that's part of the deal.
Okay.
Okay, good. Next hand. Mitch, again, ace queen. Pretty much same story. Very nice. Thank you, Mitch, for posting all those hands. I mean, seriously, that's pretty cool. You're giving us good examples. But this hand is more or less identical. It's not as dry as the other ones, but it's still kind of dry because the 10, the 3 and the 5, yes, they look connected. But because they're low cards, there's less draws in a way than like if the board was like, I don't know, 8, 10 deuce. Like if 2 middle cards are connected, it's a lot more drawy than like 2 baby cards. So yes, we would be calling ace queen on this flop as well. Yeah, we have like in the heads up course, we have a specific like when to call and when not to call with ace high chapter. This chapter here is kind of similar because like the hands where you're not sure whether to call or fold are often ace highs actually. But yes, again, keep in mind why, because it's a button raise that makes it even stronger, makes a stronger case. Good. No questions about that. Then we can go to the next guy, Stefano. Okay, let's see what hands he posted. Oh wait, did I still answer? No, I didn't answer the last hand. There you go. There's another hand from Mitch. Okay, ace 5. Pretty much, yeah, exactly same story. I think this is good because we're in position. As played, hero bluffs the turn. I wouldn't say terrible, but we don't want to do that. We just really, our goal with ace high is here just to get to showdown. Sometimes we accidentally get value by a hand like 10-9 on the turn or something that the donkey check calls, but no, that's really not our plan. We would just check behind the turn. I don't want to argue whether he could fold 4s to 8s. That could maybe be the case. I don't even want to argue against it. It's just like that's not what we're doing right now. We just want to play like very, very solid poker. So yeah, it's definitely fine. And so if we have 2